Do you with that? Mom should.
What's happening? It's Larry Loudpack bringing you the latest in cannabis news and culture. In here with my man Malik, the manager.
Happy National Women's Month.
And this is Fuego News. Let's get it. People can now get proof of their federal marijuana pardons 5 months after the program was announced. The Department of Justice just announced an online application for a certificate of proof that people can acquire to show employers, landlords, or for whatever use they may have. This applies to the 6,500 Americans who had a federal simple marijuana possession conviction prior to October of 2022 and qualified for the pardon. It's important to note that a pardon is not the same as an expungement and does not clear the charge from the record, but rather acts as a forgiven charge that remains on record. In order for federal weed charges to be fully expunged, it would take a bill passed by Congress.
Okay, so is there like a deadline for it too?
Actually, that I don't know. I haven't seen a deadline date.
Like a deadline?
I don't think so. The form itself can be filled out and mailed in or completed online. It asks for basic information about a person's qualifying federal cannabis offense as well as demographic data. It asks for your demographic data. And we're back.
And look, bro, it's like, how do they make that so consistent, bro? And it pisses me off every time because it's like,
we're back.
It's a slap in the face, bro.
I mean, how does that determine if somebody should be approved for that pardon or not? And also, this only applies to people who already are qualified for the pardon. So it's not like they're changing the qualification. It's basically you just have to get a letter saying that you were officially pardoned, which this whole shit is whack, yo. Like, then they're trying to tell you, okay, so it's forgiven, but it's still going to stay on your record. But then you have to come ask us for this little piece of paper that you can show people because, like, that doesn't change the initial reaction of somebody when they see your record and see that you have a listed weed charge. True. That's what you're trying to avoid. True. I'm not trying to have to explain the weed charge and then be like, oh, but they sent me this letter saying it's okay now. Like, that's so whack.
Remember when, like, you needed that doctor's note to get out of school?
Yeah, you need to merch it.
You need that person to sign off on your shit.
When it comes to something that you guys are saying you're pardoning and forgiving people for, then why can't you remove it? Like, I know they have the capability for that to be removed from your record.
On top of it, the whole demographic thing is really what's pissing me off.
Crazy.
Bro. Every time.
You're telling us that you didn't already know any of the information about any of the people, but you knew that their record qualified for a pardon? How do you have their whole record, but you don't have their demographics or their age or their info? You had their info.
It sounds like they're like redlining for pardons.
Y'all are wilding out.
Because
like, what?
It sounds like they're trying to really identify certain people. It doesn't even seem like they're trying to pardon these people.
Snoop Dogg signed an international licensing deal with a Canadian cannabis company called Atlas that will put his face on products in at least 4 countries. The contract will last for 5 years and gives them the rights to use his name, likeness, and other intellectual property in packaging, names, and other aspects of production. The agreement applies to adult use and medical products in Canada, Germany, Israel, and Australia, and more countries may be announced in the future. The financial terms of the deal have not yet been disclosed. They're not telling us what the bread's looking like yet. That's got to be a bag.
Do we know whether or not his Casa Verde Capital, his fund, is a nonprofit?
You mean in Cali?
Yeah, he has a capital fund in California, and I'm trying to see whether or not it's a nonprofit. It couldn't be, huh?
I doubt it. You said non-what, cuz?
Non-what?
Those are not small markets, especially Germany.
No.
And Canada.
No.
Those are large weed markets. So for you to give the exclusive rights to your likeness, first of all, this man leveraged his whole personal brand to the point that people just want to use his face.
His face.
They just want to put his face on something and they will break off the whole check.
The bag. What that means, though, to me is it sounds like he has equity within the company now.
Probably why they haven't disclosed that part of that deal yet, because we don't know. I mean, he's probably got stock for sure. Yeah. It's one company, Atlas, but they have multiple companies underneath them.
It's a big umbrella.
Yeah, they're an umbrella. So they've got all those different markets.
Shows people can respect the professionalism if you make the brand worth it.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like the weed smokers within the culture have had this stigma on them. They can't get invited to certain events. They can't show their face on certain products and stuff like that because the company's owner doesn't want to be involved with them because they smoke, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. And
but
then Snoop do a show with Martha.
And then everybody's like, oh. And now Snoop is on every single, what's those beer commercials he be on with Tosh?
Daniel Tosh?
Corona.
Commentated for the UFC.
Point being is them respecting the professionalism of another weed smoker, and that is helping that next kid that just loves weed see like, oh, okay. I mean, if I'm able to structure my life the way Snoop has, which is not easy, don't think it is.
Nah.
Is
shutting down that stigma.
Exactly.
We got to give the flowers to the full journey. This man was on trial for murder. And now he went to become a household name that families, moms, grandmas love and respect.
Snoop Dogg is arguably the biggest rapper in the world right now.
He's transcended rap, though. Think about back then. Didn't nobody want Snoop's face on their brand? This man's on trial for murder. And then fast forward 30 years. A dispensary owner in Washington was caught on camera going off on a state trooper who was on the property of her business after pulling someone over for a traffic violation. And she even told him, quote, "I'll take your wife right out of your bed."
You can't even do it.
The woman's name is Amy Deluge, and she's the owner of the Green Seed Dispensary in Moses Lake, Washington. And the state trooper's office said they are currently investigating the video to forward potential charges against Deluge to the local prosecutor. It's not very informative, but it's pretty funny. Check out the video.
Get the off my private property. He's already done his job and he's refusing. This is my you're done. Get the off my lot. You don't tell me who I got to talk to or not. Get the off my lot.
I'm not doing anything.
Get the off.
This is being recorded.
Go the ahead.
I am.
You're done. You did your due diligence. Get the off my lot.
Let me ask him a couple more
Hurry
questions,
up.
okay?
Hurry up.
Let's
I'm
do my
listening to you.
job.
I'm listening to you.
Questions with that?
Mom should You're on my land, you. You better learn your
You're on my land, you bitch.
Yo!
bed. Oh wait, you're not married, huh?
I'll take it.
Get the off my land. That face. Better learn.
You better learn.
Learn what?
Okay, so the funniest part about this video is the person that was pulled over right there that was taking the video did not know this lady
at all.
Came out of nowhere.
At all.
Just got pulled over randomly.
Yeah.
Pulled into this parking lot,
and that lady came out.
Came out and saved the day. I don't even know if they got the ticket or not.
Listen.
Like they you might have just fucked them right off.
Why she try saying that the officer was scaring the customers away?
She clearly does not like police. You know, she might have her own beef with cops.
I think the ancestors inside of her were speaking.
Yeah, what race was she?
You gotta hear. I don't know, but you heard what she said. She said, "Get off my land."
Yeah, that was ancestral.
That was
something
the
real.
spirits was speaking through her.
That was tribal.
The spirits was speaking through her, bro. And where they at?
They're in Washington. Oh yeah, she might be talking about just this whole land as a whole. Just get off my land.
Get off. That's exactly what.
That's what it really felt like.
That's what it felt like.
Very colonial.
Dude.
I don't want your blankets,
dude. This isn't the first time they've ran into her.
They said she's had hostile interactions with the police, even when she calls them for assistance. She called them and they got there and she was still doing that. Arizona Senate just voted to make medical marijuana cards free for military veterans, as well as a lower cost for non-veteran patients. Senate Bill 1466 will cut the cost of a medical card and renewal fee from $150 down to $50, but it will make them free for former military in an effort to provide aid to traumatized vets. The legislation also adds post-traumatic stress disorder and autism spectrum disorder as medical conditions that would allow individuals to get a medical marijuana card, aiming to include more veterans and people they believe to be deserving of the card. The final piece of the bill requires packaging for medical marijuana products in Arizona to have a QR code that will provide important health information and warnings. QR code thing is cute, but the vet thing is what we really been needing and what we've been talking about.
Man, getting them all medical cards, bro, is a freaking huge deal. And I'm glad that they're actually trying to show some kind of empathy towards these veterans because they haven't been showing any for how long?
No. It's also because the organizations that they're coming from don't want that for them.
Back to having having the weed involved in branding. Right, that corporation, which is the government, if we're being transparent, doesn't want weed connected to them.
That's not part of their brand.
It's not a part of their shit. Also,
I think it will be soon
because they don't have no option when people are talking about it being a medicine. Even if some of these veterans weren't initial smokers, right? If they went to the war and found out about weed and then came back home and couldn't still get access to their herb and stuff like that, but figured out that like it was actually helping them. These are some of the people that were drinking the Coca-Cola that had Coke in it.
Like you trying to protect them from something. Like you already exposed these people to everything they could be exposed to.
Bro.
And that's the government doing that to these people, right? They're putting them in these situations where they get PTSD and then they're not allowing them to get the medicine that they want or feel they need.
Exactly.
Afterwards.
And then they go to other things.
Opioids, alcohol, things that are legal.
The stuff that leads them to holding up a sign asking for money on the side of the street.
They turn to the things that are legal and accessible.
If it doesn't fit into their price budget, like they not going.
I think they just kind of figured out how to put two and two together for just how to work around the fact that the federal government doesn't want veterans or anybody in the federal government involved in weed, but they're willing to take that $100 tax, though. They'll take that bread. Cannabis track and trace software provider Metric is threatening to shut down the accounts of over 100 Michigan cannabis companies for mislicensing payments that have piled up. Metric is used to track the movement of marijuana products through the commercial supply chain from cultivation to sale, accounting for all weight and material of the plant and products, and is absolutely crucial for a legal market to operate efficiently. That being said, Metric shutting down a company's account would essentially end all business done by the company, and currently about 11% of the 1,250 licensed cannabis businesses in Michigan have outstanding bills owed to Metric for monthly service fees. The Michigan Cannabis Regulatory Agency reached out to Metric and asked for a 30-day extension on the payments, which was granted. The companies now have until March 27th to pay all fees owed, or their accounts will be closed. The Cannabis Regulatory Agency came clutch for them. The agency knows that's shutting their bread down. If you shut all these companies down, then we're not getting our fees.
Not getting their
fees. So y'all need to give these niggas an extension.
The Cannabis Regulation Agency is in charge of the dispensaries, basically, and shit, right?
They're an overall regulator. Yeah. They're one of those that needs to be broken up.
I feel like they could have possibly even avoided this situation if they were able to categorize their payments correctly.
Bro, look at what's going on in Michigan. We've had a story about Michigan damn near 2 or 3 a month at this rate, right?
Yeah. Damn.
Michigan has had issues with their regulating as far as pesticide testing because people are failing for pesticide testing, but also just unregulated product making its way into the market, product being swapped out or things not having metric tags because you got one agency that thinks they can handle it all. You need a regulatory agency that is in charge of just these dispensaries following regulations.
I don't think these companies understand that they don't really have the size to deal with the logistics of this business.
No. And I've never heard of Metric saying they're going to shut down accounts.
This has been like regular.
It is a regular practice, but I've never heard of them threatening like over a whole state.
Hey, they said it was 11% of the Michigan market.
Yeah.
Missing $40 monthly payments.
That is usually per thing. So like those payments add up to thousands.
Oh, so it's like $40 a month for, let's say, just the weight.
So you'll have maybe a flat monthly rate for just them tracking your account, but then you'll also have a per package tag, like barcode ID.
Oh, yeah.
So per SKU, you then have to pay a tracking fee for each of those SKUs. So if you're doing a lot of volume, those fees can add up to a lot of thousands. So it is a small fee per thing, but it does add up. So if you don't pay that over time, now you owe 50 racks, 100 racks to Metric. And if you're already doing bad and you're barely, keeping your doors open right now.
Man, because these markets are actually being affected with nobody really having money.
And we're seeing them moving in these trap packs like they're not making enough bread off the dispo.
So they'll definitely bring in the trap packs to make sure they stay afloat.
Allegedly. I didn't say that.
Damn, bro.
They were notified in September of 2022.
Exactly.
So they've known for a minute.
Anybody that is getting in the industry, they've been taxed.
How much are they worth right now?
Oh my God. You know what? That's a good question.
Annual revenue is currently $30.8 million per year. You better pay them bills.
You better pay them bills, bro.
All right. Thanks for watching. Subscribe,
Comment,
like,
subscribe. You know what the deal is.
Weird.